I know what Bryden's told you about me so far, all bad things, I'm sure.
I've worded them up.
Look, I've been doing like PT and coaching all that for quite a while. So I'm a bodybuilder. I've been bodybuilding since I was about 18 years old. I'm a pro, so I compete as a pro bodybuilder in Ifbb. Not sure if that means anything to you guys, but like, I don't know if you know Jeremy Buendia, Jeff Seed, those ones, that's who I compete against. So I turned that when I was 20, I'm now 25. So I've done a lot of bodybuilding and I've worked with a lot of people. So I've coached about, myself and my team, I've coached over 3,000 people. So I've done a lot. And pretty much where we specialize is when no one else can get results. So pretty much all the hard clients. As I'm sure you can imagine, there's a lot of people out there who are going for like the easy clients, people who want to lose weight, all that sort of stuff. We just go for like the hardest ones. We don't even really look at the people who are easy. Just everyone who's like been stuffed around, they can't lose weight, they can't gain muscle, nothing ever changes. Digestive issues, autoimmune issues, hormonal issues, depression, anxiety, mental health, all that sort of stuff. All like the hardest, like gnarliest cases, that's what we do, and that's what I work with predominantly. As far as like where I learned all my stuff, I went to uni, did medical science, so I was actually on the way to doing medicine and endocrinology. That's what I always wanted to do. And I was coaching one client, his name was Jason, and this kid like had it bad. So he was like obese, his mother had anorexia when he was in the womb. I don't know if you guys know much about that, but what it does, it causes a starvation response through the body, and it completely changes your hormonal profile, like massively. So he had late onset puberty, so he was 23 and he'd only partially gone through puberty. And so he was like a basket case. We went into the endocrinologist with him, and pretty much the endocrinologist, like off the cuff, diagnosed him with having a pituitary tumor, like just straight up. Like, can you imagine going into a doctor's and they haven't done any tests and they're like, I think you've got a pituitary tumor. And I was like, fuck that, this is a joke. So that's when I like veered away from doing medicine because of how useless that endocrinologist was, plus multiple other doctors as well. And that's where I am right now, doing what I'm doing. So pretty much I spend all my time, I run my company, JCF, and then I also do a lot of education with PTs, like you guys. So just last Friday, I was actually down here in Melbourne as well, presenting at another one. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. If you want to know any more about me or anything like that, ask away. But pretty much like what I'm here to do with you guys today is to talk a little bit and expand upon what Bryden's probably already taught you, because he's mightn't look a bit, he's pretty smart. But pretty much answer any questions you got and make your life easier with your clients. So pretty much I take it that you don't really have an issue with clients non-responding. Is that right? Like clients who you drop their calories, you increase their cardio, you increase their weight, and they still don't lose fat. I assume that you don't have an issue with that normally. Is that right? Or you do
pretty
have
good, pretty good. The occasional person might drop their calories and then they hit a bit of a plateau, then we start refeeding phase and all that sort of stuff. Try and bump their metabolism back up to a working state, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Don't have too much problem.
Yeah.
We'll just get people.
Get them to stick to it and getting them to actually buy in. Yeah?
Yep.
Right, so we'll focus it all around that. So if you do have any corporate clients, so when you see, I don't know if you guys will ever coach corporate clients, but when you do, you'll see it all the time. They literally just don't respond. Like you drop their calories down, low, you increase their energy expenditure, and nothing happens, like nothing changes. You can refeed, you can increase calories, decrease, their body's the same all the time. So if you do ever have issues with those ones, remember that you're not alone. Just, the corporate ones can be really, really difficult. But anyway, let's go and let's go through like the things that you guys want to cover first. So obviously we've got a couple of things which we're going to go over, which is client motivation, hormones, the nervous system. They're the three things which I'll make sure that we cover. But before we even get into that stuff, what do you guys want us to go through? Andy?
I'd like to cover off the difference, like telling the difference when a client's telling you what they're eating, tracking calories, they look like they're doing everything right from what they're telling you, and differentiating between when they're not quite telling the truth, whether they mean it or not, whether they're just tracking wrong, whether they're lying because they're too restricted.
Jeez, we're in different worlds, hey?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't dealt with a client who doesn't do that in quite a while. The most important thing with that, whenever you have a client who's not telling you the truth, you've got to think about why.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that? What is their end goal for it? So with you guys, because you're face to face all the time, there's going to be that level of they're actually intimidated by you and they actually look up to you and they kind of idolize you a little bit. So you've got to look into like, why is it? Are they actually, do they feel that they don't have the ability to tell you that they're not doing the right thing? I mean, one of the things that we do really, really early on, and literally as soon as they sign up, we tell them that. We're like, look, we don't care if you don't follow the plan, because in the end of the day, you're paying us, $117 per week plus GST for this plan. If you choose not to follow that plan, that's cool. But just let us know so we can change it with you. Now, is there a reason they wouldn't be following it? Is it because like the plan is they feel it's restrictive, or what's the reason for that? They feel it's restrictive?
Yeah.
Yeah. How so? Like, what is it about the plan that is restrictive? Is it just in terms of calories, or
yeah?
what?
So I think it's a lot from past experience, because a lot of what I say is similar to that. It's like, I don't care if they follow a plan to the T. Like, you can change that. But I think got a few clients who in the past have had trainers who've not, they've done big group training and had a chat and gone, just drop your calories.
Yeah.
So instead of going, okay, why are you finding it difficult? It's like, screw it, drop your calories. And they're at this point where we're on like 800 calories a day to 1,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
And they've got that fear of actually telling the truth about what they're actually eating, and like, I've eaten 1,000 calories a day for 6 weeks, and they haven't.
Yeah.
So just kind of changing their mindset a little bit about not being scared about telling the truth.
Yeah, gotcha. That's a really weird mindset. So we predominantly work with type A, super motivated people. So you have to be $117 a week for a program. That's it. That's what we do. It requires a lot of motivation to be there. So I just can't understand why someone would. Well, I would never see myself doing that and not telling the truth. I think the easiest way to do it is to make sure that you've got your values really, really congruent together, and you need to make sure that they know that you're actually here for them and you're always going to listen.
Yeah.
Do you guys do breakthrough sessions or anything like that at the start? What's your initial sign-up process like when they're beginning?
Yeah, you go.
We go through their whys, so we really try and touch on why they're actually wanting to achieve this. We go through some of their obstacles they may have stopped them in the past.
Yeah.
And we get them just to basically tell us where they think they're at.
Yeah.
So, out of 10 for these 5 points in their life.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, does this suit you right now? Are you going to be the person you want to be?
Yeah.
Like this, and we try and mold health and fitness. Looking after yourself is going to help you have a better relationship with your partner, with your kids. It's going to help you be more energetic. It's going to help you be less of a bitch to everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
all these sort of things that people don't like about themselves.
Yeah.
Not so much telling them, we're saying that it's going to help them just evolve into the person they want to be. It's not going to solve their problems, but it's certainly going to, you have to pay attention to yourself before you can help everyone else around you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of our sales pitch / getting people prepped for what's ahead.
So you're really just going into their why, that's the big thing, and then you're saying this is where you're at right now at point A, this is where you want to be at point B, and then we say we're part of this vehicle which is going to move you from A to B.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And the common problem is everyone's focusing on everyone else but themselves. They've been that martyr in their life.
Yeah.
Mums and dads focusing on their kids, their partner,
Yeah.
their work, volunteering for shit they don't need to. All these sort of things, and they get to this big hole.
Yeah.
And then they're useless to everyone because they hate themselves and they don't have any energy for anyone. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the routine we go. Well, you got to bring some back to you, otherwise it's not happy for anyone else.
Yeah, 100%. So if they've got that really strong why, then why the fuck are they not following the program? What are the have you caught out people not following the program? Is that how you know they're actually not doing it?
It's not like...
So I'm James, by the way, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Was that? Buddy? Nice to meet you, man.
It's not like, a lot of them, they're not actively lying, they're not purposely coming in and going, I'm doing everything, you're shit at your job type stuff. It's more like they're coming in the moment you're asking them how's everything going, not getting the results you'd expect.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah. And it's kind of like, cool, let's see yesterday's tracking, and it's like, I'm not tracking anymore. So in the moment when you ask them, are you tracking your calories? It's like, yeah, I'm doing everything. It's like, all right, let's see MyFitnessPal. It's like, I've not done it for 3 weeks.
MyFitnessPal, in my opinion, is a piece of shit. That's just my opinion, no offense to what you guys use. The reason why I think it's a piece of shit is because it requires so much actual use. It's neurotic. It would drive me nuts. I'm a pro bodybuilder and it would drive me fucking nuts if I was using MyFitnessPal and tracking every freaking meal. I want that. I get all my meals prepped for me. Every single thing. I eat the whole lot, everything that's put in front of me. So either Sophie cooks me something because she's amazing, or I've got the meal prep company we run, which does all my meals for me. I want everything just done there for me, sorted out, so that I don't have to think about a single thing. As soon as you, what's that?
On a plan.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as you start thinking about like what you're eating every single meal, it drives you nuts. How many of you guys track every single meal you eat off MyFitnessPal and never screw up?
I'll do it.
Yeah.
A lot of the problem is people won't meal prep. It's just a big fat no. Our members. Also, they want the freedom to be able to go out and eat outside of what they normally eat. You know what I mean? So they want to be social still. They want a bit of everything. It's not like it's completely different.
Yeah.
To what you might experience.
So with that, with you guys, like, what is your nutrition plan? Do you have like a standard, like systemized, back on track nutrition system? Is that what you got?
Yeah.
What do? Do you give them like a meal outline, or do you give them macros?
We have about 4 or 5 different meal outlines.
Yeah.
And then it's more calorie and protein based. We try not to confuse it too much with the carbs and fats sort of side of things.
Yeah.
As long as they're reasonably consistent with those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main thing we teach is calorie consistency.
Yeah.
Getting aware of what they intake.
Yeah.
And making sure those calories are reasonably consistent day in, day out.
Yeah.
As opposed to not eating one day, then eating like a pig on the weekend. Sort of.
Yeah. Because if they're coming to you, right, and they're saying, like, you've given me this plan and I want to do it and I've got my why here, and they're motivated to get that why, they're coming to you, they're paying you every single week to get to that, you know, that point B where they want to be. They've got the reason for that, there's everything there, and they're not following the nutrition plan. There's somewhere along the line, there's something's not congruent, there's something that's not computing. So it's going to be in the way that it's being delivered and being received, somewhere in between that. So in terms of communication, people often think that good communication is when you say something well. It's not. Good communication is when the other person hears what you say. Does that make sense? So it's all about how they're perceiving what you're saying to them. So it's just got to be really, really crystal clear. One thing that we do, which I think we do really, really well, is make our plans super flexible. So we do all of our bodybuilders, like everyone, it's really, really flexible. So we coach a whole different range of clients. I mean, even Soph, for example. And Soph, recently just won, her bikini comp last weekend, and all the way up to the show, Soph was eating chocolate. Like, not just like a crappy branded chocolate, but she was eating chocolate like the whole way up to it. And then we had donuts the week before, like gluten-free donuts, dairy-free, which they're awesome and not bad for a gut, but like she was still eating that sort of stuff. And we make that a really like prominent part of our plan, because in the end of the day, eating is a very social thing. You look at people and what we inherently value around eating is being social. So a lot of the time when people don't want to miss out on a meal, it's because it's a social thing. Like, it's weird to go out and bring your packed lunch while everyone else is eating out there. That's fucking weird. Like, I wouldn't do it, you know what I mean? We can't expect the clients to do that either. So what we need to do is need to make the plan like really, really flexible around it. So what we do is we'll set out their meals, for meal 1 to 5, right? So we have meal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's if a client selects that they can eat 5 meals through a day, okay? So it's always up to them. Meal 1, we generally get them to have a shake, which has just got like some protein, some fat, a few berries in it, that sort of thing. So they're getting like, P40, C5, F20 or 30 or something like that. Then after that, when we go through these meals, we make them nice and flexible, so that if we talk to them, like, okay, so what are your favorite foods? We ask them straight out, what foods do they love, or what routines do they have? Some people, white people, we all love fucking roast dinners, you know what I mean, with mum. All white people always have roast dinners with mum. So we'd make it in here, meal 5, we tell them they've got to have 200 grams of meat with veggies. Sorry, I've got shit house writing, by the way, so I apologise. And then also some carbs, all right? And we've got the macros all set out for them there. But with that, so we'll tell them, like, for example, so we'll have that written out, and then we'll have, i.e., you have a roast dinner, roast lamb, if they love their roast lamb, with 300 grams of potato or 3 potatoes, and then some veggies with it. Something like really super simple like that, and it's actually mapped out for them so they know what they can have. When you give somebody like a slight amount of option, like a little bit to choose from, they actually feel in control and they'll have more buy-in from that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that similar to how you do it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Do you give them the examples of what foods they can have for it?
No.
That'd be really
We're
good
working
one.
on that.
What's that?
Tina's doing that now.
Yeah. If you just give them an example, like when the first question, sorry, did you say something before that?
Are you talking about food sensation?
Yeah. Right. All good. So with that, it's really important to give them the option. So when you ask them, like at the start, like what foods, I assume in like your initial questionnaire, that sort of thing, you do have some like time where you find out what their favourite foods are, right?
No, we don't. What's that?
Yeah.
Do it. Find out their favourite foods. There's nothing that says customised, right? Okay, so we've got this plan. This is the same format for every single person that we take on. It takes my coaches 5 minutes to write a program, right? Because everything is so systemised and so like snappy. Really, like just plain and simple like this. The easiest way you can make a plan customised to someone is to have in here, I want you to have 200 grams of meat, veggies and carbs, and then say in brackets, I eat a roast dinner, because they say that their favourite thing in the world is a roast dinner, alright? Or they like, I don't know, what's your favourite food?
No, Asian.
Asian food, alright. So you say, I eat Mongolian beef, or something like that. A food that they really, really like, and is actually going to fit their macros. And you help them fit that, and you give them examples. That is like the easiest way to get buy-in, because they feel listened to and cared for. Look at your programs now, right? If you took off the Back on Track logos, if you took off your fonts, all that sort of shit, stuck it on the internet, what would make that look different to any other program on the internet? Would you be able to download something that looks pretty similar to that, just from an outsider? Imagine you've got no knowledge. Would you be able to download something that looks pretty similar to that if you just took away the fonts and all that? And that's pretty common. That's the issue that we had back in the day. But then when you actually put in this stuff, which is like literally personalised to them, it takes you 2 seconds. To put in this stuff which says has their favourite foods in there every day, you get so much more buy-in from that. So much more. So try that, give it a nudge. It should really help. The other thing too is explaining why you're doing each thing. So although your clients, I take it, are not like the highest level athletes, they still want to know why they're doing stuff. They still want to know, why are we reducing calories, or why are we doing this? Now, of course, you're going to give them the reason for reducing calories in terms of like, well, if you increase energy expenditure and reduce energy intake, that causes a deficit, which then leads to fat loss, right? You go through that whole spiel with them, yeah? So going through even and saying, okay, this is why we're getting you to have this much protein. This is why this week we're reducing your calories by X amount. And then explain to them what happens if they don't do that. You say, okay, cool. You know what? Sometimes shit happens and you're not going to be able to follow this. Sometimes you're going to go out and you're going to go get pissed with the boys because you've got, an engagement party or something like that, a bucks night, something like that. Those things come up. Explain to them what's going to happen when they don't follow it and say, that's cool. Like, it's fine if you don't follow the plan. Just remember cause and effect. That's it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Awesome.
So what was the question? I wasn't here for that part.
Clients who say they're doing everything right, but not. So like Tara.
You outer man. Why would you outer?
What do you want to know?
No, I think we have a similar issue at our studio. It basically just comes down to people not following the nutrition side of it.
Yeah.
Because for various reasons, some people just can't be bothered, some just are not doing the prep, or people think it's just too hard for them to follow.
Okay, right.
And the hard part comes from because they just refuse to want to use MyFitnessPal to track it and stuff like that.
I don't blame them for that, man. I refuse to use MyFitnessPal. I think it's the shittiest thing in the world, to be perfectly honest. I think that it's just way easier if you do everything for them as well.
Yeah.
And by doing everything for them, just make it so simple that literally all they've got to do is chuck some stuff in the pan. You would have no idea. Actually, I'm sure you've all got a great idea, actually. You've been dealing with this a long time. How simple some people can be. I know that sounds like brutal and all that, but like I firmly believe as a race we're devolving, right? We've all definitely seen some devolution over the last 5-10 years, right? People are quite simple in general. What I find you need to do is you need to really underestimate how simple people can be. So really think that they can be super dumb. You've got to cater for that. And at the same time, you've also got to cater for them being way smarter when it's in a negative way, if that makes sense, all right? So you've got to assume the worst all the time. And with that, the main reason why people don't go through with doing something or just can't stick to something is because they're confused. They don't actually know why. They become really overwhelmed. So literally by giving them examples of what they should be eating on a daily basis is going to be the easiest way that you can actually give them benefit and get them to keep sticking to your stuff. The other thing too is like, I just don't understand why they're denying it to you guys. Like, do they get scolded when they don't follow a nutrition plan? Do they think that they're going to get scolded? Like,
I think they think they're going to.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Is that because that's what's happened in the past?
I've never seen it happen here, but with previous trainers, like
yeah. Of course not here, but like, Look, with the and not to rag on F45, but with the F45s, or maybe to rag on F45. But that's where it, that's where it all starts, because those guys are absolute muppets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's, I guess you've got to undo a lot of their fuckery that they've done. I think that if that's an issue you're having and they don't feel confident and open with talking about you guys have got to like open that can of worms and talk about the bloody elephant in the room. Like, you've literally got to sit down with them and say, hey, look, you've probably been abused, yelled at, put down, made to feel, shame, all that sort of stuff from a previous coach for doing X, Y, and Z. That's not what I like here. And then say something about yourself, let them into you. Like, I go out and go get pissed on the weekends. I do that, I drink, I love fish and chips, I eat burgers, I do this sort of thing. But I do it in a way which is moderated, and I understand that if I overdo it, I'm not going to get the results that I'm looking to do. I'm not going to get there. And be really, really open and actually open up like a bit about you too, so that they can come in. If you're always talking about the client, sure, they love it, because we all love talking about ourselves. But at the same time, they won't actually completely open up to you, and they won't feel trust with you until you actually share a bit about you and some of your weaknesses. Because like it or not, even if you guys don't think you're like up here, the clients will generally view you on a pedestal. You're the fit guy, you're the fit girl, you're the person who is a professional. You are what they want to be like. Most of them probably want to have a body like you. You know what I mean? They probably want to look like you, be as confident as you, be able to help other people like you do. So even though they probably do, man. They probably do. I don't know. And sometimes it is a scary thought, huh? But they generally do put you up on this pedestal. You know what I mean? You need to be able to come down to their level and actually talk with them too, because otherwise they're going to be super, super uncomfortable with you. Does that make sense? Cool. Is there anything else around that area that you're having trouble with?
Generally, they're pretty good with showing up to their sessions and training hard. The issue we have is like when they come to us and go, I'm not really losing weight, and it usually reflects back to their nutrition being really bad. So.
Do they understand that? Yeah. So what do they think? So they say, I'm not losing weight and I'm not doing the work. Yeah. What do they think then? Like, what's their conclusion?
Generally, when I sit down with them, I kind of go back to, well, what are you doing with your nutrition? And it's usually skipping meals, not eating enough. So then I sit down and go through that, they've got to come up with some sort of happy medium.
Yeah, so they're skipping meals and not eating enough, but they're not losing weight. Right. Why do you think that is? Because in the end of the day, let's just be like, let's break it down to the most basic level. If you eat less and exercise more, you will lose weight.
Yeah.
That is what's going to happen. So why is it that they're eating less and then they're not losing weight?
Well, that's basically what they'll tell you, but then when you dig deep, you'll find out that the one meal that they are eating is like
3,000 calories.
Yeah, right.
It's like shit and calories through the roof, and it's basically just all really, really bad food.
Gotcha. So they think they can't do it, right? They think they think that they're not getting in any food, and therefore they need to pig out on meal 5 to make it.
That's one of the reasons we do get them to actually track, because a lot of people just don't know how much they're actually eating.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like at least this gives them some sort of thought process before they stick it in their mouth.
The thing with a plan though is that humans are creatures of habit, right? We all like habit. My day gets really fucked up when I don't have my meals with me. You know what I mean? I'm lucky that I have to eat 5,000 calories just to stay on the same weight, so I just go and pig out on whatever anyway. But whenever I don't have my routine, like my day is not great. I'm just not as effective, not as efficient, nothing like that. Humans always love plans. I don't know if it's part of your model to deviate away from having a plan, but I always see a plan as being better for them. If they are missing out on 5 meals, why are they doing that? Is it because they're too busy? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, like
they're just too busy.
Everyday structure, or people on the go, like shift workers. And those are the general excuses they will get.
And they're just not in the habit of doing it.
Is that it as well? It's just not in the habit of doing it?
Yeah.
And they can't get into that habit? They just don't know how to make themselves into that habit?
Yeah, they'll do it for 3 days and then...
Self-sabotage is a big one for them.
Yeah, right.
A lot of them start losing weight, but I guess it's they can be a bit scared of the results they're getting.
Okay.
And then they self-sabotage it. They stop doing it. That's working.
Gotcha. Is that because a lot of them have anxiety, depression, and self-esteem issues? Okay, let's talk on that. That's a really fucking big one. Really, really big. So what proportion of your clients have got anxiety, depression, self-esteem issues?
Most of them.
Yeah,
Pretty much
75%
9 out of 10
upwards.
that walk in here.
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
Yeah.
They don't, it's not that bad once you're in here for
Yeah.
a while, but it's
Yeah.
certainly a big point why they're there.
Yeah.
They all hate themselves.
They all have
We ask them, what do you think when you look in the mirror? Well, that's one of the questions we ask them. What's the conversation you're having with yourself? What would you tell your best mate? Most of them are like, I fucking hate myself.
Yeah.
I look at myself, I can't look at myself, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, right. Is that because of the way that they look?
Oh, it just can be that, can be their attitude, can be anything. You know, like what kind of person they are.
Yeah, gotcha. Because a lot of human beings actually don't give a shit about the way they look, like straight out.
It's not the reason.
Yeah, it's not the reason. It's looking. The way that you look is more a means to an end. In that, like, it's all about social status. If you look, in the end of the day, like the things that humans need, it's always shelter, food or fuel, and social interaction. They're literally the three things that we need. Because if you're not part of the herd, you die. And then when you start getting chunky, if you're a bit chubby and people look at you weird or you don't fit in, obviously you're going to be on the outside of the herd and you're more likely to die, which gives us anxiety. It's like an evolved mechanism. Are you guys familiar with that, by the way? How that works? Yeah. So if you don't have human interaction, your body senses you're being fucked, which makes you really, really anxious, which then causes you to change your behaviours to fit in with the herd and fit in with the crowd. Cool? So that's often a reason why people want to lose weight, is to actually just fit in with the crowd. And that's often as well why you can find that they do self-sabotage because they've got massive anxiety, they're massively depressed and have no self-esteem issues. What do you do for the anxiety and depression? Is your strategy just to get them in here, get them moving, and then start making them lose a few kilos and kick a few goals? Is that the strategy?
Yeah, we do have a whole heap of like videos and that they can watch, but it's more like, okay, let's start focusing on yourself. It's because you're not focusing on yourself, you become, I guess, you start blaming others for your lack of a life. So it's like, all right, you got to actually prioritise yourself in some form, some way, and make a good time for yourself. Because if not, you're just going to resent everyone, and you'll end up in this big puddle that you find yourself in.
Yeah. So this is just like hardcore life coaching, what you're really doing, huh?
Well, a little bit,
Yeah.
That's where it gets down to in the end of the day, and that's really common. That's what we do as well, albeit like at different stages. I think one of the coolest things you can do for them when they're really anxious, if you notice someone's really anxious and really fucking hating their life, is get them to chill out. So how familiar are you guys with the nervous system?
What?
The nervous system?
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the different components of the nervous system and how it's broken down?
Well, like sympathetic, parasympathetic, all that sort of stuff.
All that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So you know that. So you got like the central nervous system. Cool. If you don't get this, let me know so I'll explain it. Otherwise, I'll just brush over it. But you got your central nervous system. Yeah. You know what that is?
Yeah.
What's that?
So it's your central nervous system. So basically, when you put your body under too much stress, it reacts, kicks back.
Your central nervous system is
Huh?
your central nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord.
Oh, so
Okay, so that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right? It does all the motor, it does all your processing, all your thinking. Right. After that, you've got the autonomic nervous system, which is your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, also known as your fight or flight or rest and digest. Then after that, you've also got your peripheral nervous system, which controls all muscular movement and lots of smooth muscle movement. And then you've also got your enteric nervous system. Okay, so all of your gut organs, it makes them all move. Cool? Does that make sense?
I don't know about that last one.
Enteric?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the gut nervous system. Largely controlled and intertwined with the autonomic nervous system. Now, with them, they're key to absolutely everything, to your perception of well-being, right? You look at the most supremely confident people, and they've always been identified with what we have as having high levels of GABA. Are you guys familiar with neurotransmitters? Yeah? Which ones do you guys know of? What do you know? Which neurotransmitters do you know? Any?
It's what dopamine, serotonin,
Yeah.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah. What else?
Epinephrine.
Yep. And anything else?
Adrenaline.
There's 128 of them.
Yeah. Adrenaline.
Adrenaline's not one, that's a hormone. So epinephrine, the noradrenaline, that's a neurotransmitter. Epinephrine and adrenaline, they're a hormone.
Yeah.
Anything else? No?
Haven't dealt too much
Good.
into this. No.
This is key. This stuff's like absolutely wicked because this is how you can like fully hack somebody's body and the way that they're thinking, their whole mindset, the way they're functioning, everything. How many of your people come in really, really tired and lethargic all the time? Most of them, right? How many of them sleep like shit? Pretty much all of them, right? Did you know that when you start sleeping like shit, you immediately become depressed and anxious? Have you ever noticed that? Go try it. Try not sleeping for 3 days and see how good you feel. Do you get that? Your sleep suck?
And I was sleeping with shit.
Why?
I don't know, man. I've got everything else under control. It just doesn't happen.
Bro, I'll give you some. I'll call a spade a spade. You don't have everything else under control. If you sleep in shit, you don't have it under control, man. Like straight out. I'm not trying to grill you here, but I'll just be like straight up. If you have everything under control, your body will be perfect. You'll move really, really well. You'll gain muscle easily. You'll lose fat easily. If everything's under control, then it will work straight up. That's the biggest bullshit thing that I hear all the time. I'm not ragging on you, man, but I hear it all the time. Right? People say, I'm doing everything right, but I'm not getting results. I'm like, no, you're not. Right? You're not doing everything right because otherwise you would be getting results straight up. It's as simple as that. People like to think that the body's got some like higher being controlling it, like some soul, or the body has it. Like they like to personify the body. Who has like heard people speak of their body say, "Oh, my body doesn't like this," or "My body doesn't respond well to that"?
Yeah.
Bullshit. Like that's stupid. Your body is just a neural network. That's it. It is nothing more than that. There is, well, I don't believe that there's a soul. There's none of that crap. It is all about the nervous system and neurotransmitters. That's what controls everything. So the body doesn't, have some sort of persona to it, which one day just wakes up like, fuck you, I'm not going to lose fat today. It doesn't do that, all right? It's not a dick like that. It's just black and white, that's it. So with your neurotransmitters, the ones that you've got to look for are dopamine or DA, serotonin, 5-HT, GABA, and acetylcholine. All right, they're the 4 main ones. After that, you've got other ones like glutamate, noradrenaline, and we'll just leave it at that. Okay, these are the main ones. Now, where these come in, and these are really, really important, is because they allow the nervous system to function. Who knows how or the role of the neurotransmitters? Anyone? So what these things do, right, is they actually allow your nerves to communicate and function. These are like messages. So what you have with every single nerve, right, is there's not one continuous nerve. Your nerve doesn't just run from your brain all the way to your pinky toe. It doesn't do that. They have a lot of junctions, and what they end up looking like is that, okay? So you've got 2 junctions like this. This is called a synapse. Has anyone heard of that word before? Synapse? Yeah? What's a synapse?
So it's the link between.
Yeah. Bang on. So you've got the upstream neuron, or the upstream nerve here, and you've got the downstream one here. What happens is you've got these neurotransmitters in this little thing called a vesicle, this little storage container, which holds them tight. The reason why you've got a storage container in there is so that you don't release neurotransmitters in here and they go back or do anything else the other way. This storage container causes the neurotransmitters to be pushed out into this gap here. Who can guess what this gap is called, or who knows what this gap is called with a synapse? Anyone?
Something junction.
Synaptic cleft, close. Right out. Good guess. Right, so that's your synaptic cleft just there. And it pushes these neurotransmitters out into the synaptic cleft. And then what you've got here is you've got a receptor on the end. So you've got these neurotransmitters which then bind onto this receptor. And then from here, it then relays multiple messages down and then repeats the process again. Does that make sense? All right? So who can guess what happens when you don't have enough neurotransmitters?
The message doesn't get through.
Exactly, and things start going wrong. That's when you see people who have cognitive deficits, they can't learn properly, they get depressed, anxious, all that sort of stuff. So, if you've got somebody who's deficient in GABA, who knows what GABA is? Anyone? Sleep. Chill out, it's a relaxation one, bang on, man. If you are deficient in GABA, you are not going to be able to relax, straight up. It is one of the major inhibitory neurotransmitters. Who knows the difference between inhibitory and excitatory?
So inhibitory, it stops something.
Stops. And excitatory, it starts, it perks you up, okay? By the way, with these things, in different areas of the brain, they have different effects. But for general speaking, we're going to call certain ones purely inhibitory and purely excitatory. Cool? So with this, in general, dopamine is excitatory. So if you've got someone who's really not motivated, just really sluggish, they just want to sit on the couch at home, smoke bongs, and eat food, and that's it, right? And do nothing else. Generally what they have is dopamine deficiency, all right? Actually, smoking bongs is the perfect example of that. So of course nobody here does drugs, and never has and never will. But with smoking like pot, you'll have a client every now and then, right, who'll smoke a bit of pot. And you'll notice that they're really, really lacking motivation. They're really lethargic all the time. I don't give a fuck. They do not care about a single thing at all. That's because what's happening is when you take marijuana, it actually supplements dopamine into the brain, right, for a short term. And then it actually reduces the amount of dopamine activation that you get. So you have a reduced effect of dopamine, which causes them to become really, really, sluggish, lethargic. Does that make sense? Okay. Then you've got like your GABA, right? This is probably the one we're going to focus on actually, because this is most relevant to what we're talking about. The people who can't sleep, they can't chill out, they can't wind down, they're really anxious, they're wound up tight, all that sort of stuff, they're deficient in GABA. Cool? Does that make sense? They do not have enough of this neurotransmitter. So with this neurotransmitter, what's actually happening is you have two different ways that it can go, right? It can either go and bind to this receptor and then have the effect, or it can be reuptaken and brought back into the nerve up here so it doesn't get to work, or it can be broken down and gotten rid of so it doesn't get to work. So two times out of three, right, it's getting broken down and it's not even working on the receptor. Does that make sense? Right? So if you're deficient in that, the chance of you actually getting to the receptor and get that message through is really, really low. Cool? So what we need to do is we need to bump that amount up. Who can think of reasons why we would have low GABA levels and low parasympathetic activity?
High cortisol, and I guess an increase in sympathetic nervous system.
Let's go back. Why have you got that? You're correct,
Stress.
but why do you have that? Stress, yeah. So who knows how stress works in the body?
What do you mean?
Like, how is stress started?
So you do something.
Responsiveness.
Yeah, and how is that started?
So if you see a threat, it's like you got to deal with it or
Yeah.
run away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the upregulation of like I guess your fight responses.
Yeah.
And the deregulation of all the fucking digestion, sleep, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Why does that occur? Why do you upregulate the fight and why do you downregulate the sleep and chill out? What's that?
To survive.
Exactly. Because if you're sleeping, right, if you've sensed out there, if your brain, your thalamus and hypothalamus and even your limbic system, if they have gone through and they've sensed a threat, all right, they've sensed, oh shit, there's something wrong here, all right, I need to be awake. It is not going to benefit you by digesting your food. Your blood will immediately flow away from your viscera, your organs, that is, all right. So when I say viscera, I mean your organs, okay? Your blood will immediately flow away from there. You'll get an instant surge of adrenaline. Why will you get an instant surge of adrenaline?
Increases strength, speed, reaction speed, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, the main reason is fuel. You need energy reserves, okay? So all of your muscle, all of your fat stores, all of your glycogen in your body is fuel. That's what it is in the end of the day. They are all energy stores. People think that, yeah, muscle's there for functioning movement. You only need a very limited amount of muscle to survive, you know what I mean? Go look at the Ethiopians, they're skinny as, you know what I mean? Like tiny skinny as. Like genetically, obviously, not the politically incorrect one. I'm probably treading a fine line there with saying something a bit racist, but it is true. I'm not referring to the starving ones, it's very unfortunate. No, I'm referring to just genetically, like where they're at, okay? They're tiny people and they run, and they function really, really well, okay? So with them, the reason why the body can function so well is because it doesn't need much muscle, right? The muscle is just an energy store. So when we get that adrenaline surge, when we get that, it mobilizes energy straight away. So it brings down, it turns off insulin and it brings down the triglycerides in the bloodstream, brings down the glucose as well, and also starts breaking down protein, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so you get all that sort of stuff to prepare you and get you ready to go do something. At the same time, it turns off the digestive system, so you got blood flow out to the extremities and not in your digestion, and it also stops you from being able to go to sleep. It also increases your anxiety and your awareness. So people think of anxiety as a bad thing. It's actually a survival mechanism, because if you're not hyper aware in certain situations, you're going to die. That lion's going to eat you, like straight up. It's going to get you and you're gone. That's it, end of story, okay? So with these people, you need to take them out of this thing. What happens is when you are excessively stressed, GABA goes down. So there's an inversely proportionate relationship between when you've got the presence of adrenaline and the presence of GABA. Can you understand why that would be?
Wait, so you're doing opposite things.
Sorry?
You're trying to do opposite things.
Exactly. So by the way, inversely proportionate means one up, one down. So if adrenaline goes up, GABA goes down. Cool? So doing opposite things. GABA is bringing you down and it's chilling you out, whereas adrenaline is perking you up and it's changing the rest of your excitatory neurotransmitters, particularly this one, to make you more active. Cool? Does that make sense? So with these people, why would they sleep well? You know what I mean? What reason is the body giving them, what reason is the brain and the nervous system giving them to sleep? Like there's zero reason for them to sleep at all, is there? There's zero reason for them to chill out at all, is there? Like literally none. That's probably why their digestion's also screwed up too. Do you notice a lot of your clients complain about like not going to the bathroom regularly or getting bloated or anything like that? Do you even delve into that? Yeah? So that's a really, really big one. Digestion. With these people who are stressed out, I mean, geez, you probably notice it as well, man. Like your digestion gets screwed.
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Like twice a day.
Yeah? That's good. That's solid, man. That's solid. What
Not
we
always.
look for, what we look for, like with awesome digestion, is 3 bowel movements a day, okay? And then just regular consistency. So you look on the Bristol stool chart. Have you heard of that? The chart which tells you how good your poo is. All right? It's
Very
awesome.
good.
Really good. So you want that. You want to be number 3, number 4 on the Bristol stool chart, okay? At all times, keep them there. 2 to 3 bowel movements a day, 3 or 4 on the Bristol stool chart. And when I say 2 to 3 bowel movements a day, that's when they're eating more than like 3 meals. Because if you're eating 1 meal and you're shitting 3 times, it's probably not great. You know what I mean? So the average person. Cool? So yeah, that's a little bit of a tangent. But what we want to do, going back to this nervous system side of things, is we want to increase the amount of GABA they've got. What do you think is the best way to do that?
Teach them how to chill out, I guess.
You can supplement with it, but does it work?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it works really well. Really. What, GABA?
Yeah.
GABA needs the wrong, man. So if you use it correctly, it's absolutely mint. Remember, if you're looking at using just GABA itself, GABA does not cross the blood-brain barrier. Alright, so that's what you've got to be really aware of with all these supplements. So are you familiar with the blood-brain barrier? Do you know what that is? Yeah? So what it is, the brain has got this barrier around it which stops large molecules from passing through. Okay? This means that you can't just have bacteria, virus and whatnot getting into the brain, because if that happened, you'd be fucked. You'd be dead really, really quick, right? So it's got this really awesome barrier there. The only thing that's a pain in the ass about it is that it actually stops big things going through, such as GABA, which is an awesome supplement. So you can directly supplement with GABA, won't go through the brain, but you will get a systemic effect. You will actually get an effect throughout the body. If you are going to supplement with GABA, I'd learn to use it yourself really, really well and get used to it so you can explain to clients, because weird things happen, like with GABA you get the co-release of insulin. So you can make yourself go hypoglycemic, which gives you like tingling lips and weird stuff like that, okay? What we actually recommend using is something called Pharma GABA, alright? I've actually got some here. I'll grab it for you, I'll show you what it looks like.
I'll buy it off you, dude. Straight out.
Comes in chewable tablets. Amazing.
Yeah.
Feel like a child.
Yeah, this is it. This is the one we're using at the moment. It's pretty good. Pass it around, alright?
Where do you get it from?
iHerb. Everything from iHerb. Place at the bowl.
Does anyone have a discount code on there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
By any chance?
we got a discount code. I'm sending it to public.
Oh, yes.
Unreal. The first thing you think of. Yeah. There you go, rub it down.
NQZ 836.
Did you get it?
That's the discount.
You can finally get that 10 kilogram vitamin D. I mean, 10,000.
Yeah,
NQZ.
I'm reading this and
You
you're
need
talking.
this.
NQZ 836.
Yeah, you can read it yourself.
NQZ836.
What happens when you get married?
Yeah, Zed, sorry, I have terrible writing.
No, I listened to
But they tell me that I'm smarter because I got shit writing, so I'll
Does
take
that make
that.
you dumber because they have nicer writing?
Yeah.
Jenna's got the nicest writing I've ever seen.
I'm also left-handed,
You're
so
borderline.
I don't know, they did, the scientists.
I'm like a fucking genius. I'm bullied for my handwriting.
Scribble if you want.
Backwards, man.
But yeah, so back to it. This supplement, that thing, I reckon it's wicked. I actually really like that stuff. It normally takes about 60 minutes to get in. We've been chewing one tablet, and it's really quite good. Okay, the cool thing about that is they're in chewies as well. So you chew them, you can have one, bro, if you want. But you actually chew them.
Just take it.
Huh?
Just take
You
it.
just chew it, yeah. You just take and chew it, okay? And pretty much you'll notice that it starts just like mellowing you out a bit. Now with this stuff, remember GABA's the stuff that makes you go to sleep. If you dose them the fuck up, right, on GABA, they're going to be like really sluggish and lethargic all day, okay? So you can't be too aggressive with the dosing.
Wait, so I can just take one.
Just take one.
Okay.
Chew it, so there you go.
Take 7, see what happens.
Thanks, bro.
Like a Tuesday night.
It tastes like a vitamin tablet.
Yeah, it does. It tastes decent. That's why I like these ones. That's why we're looking at these. We used to get our clients to take pills, but fuck, how people hate taking pills. You know what I mean? And so the chewies are actually like really good.
If you don't feel stressed and you don't really have trouble sleeping, is there any benefit to it?
What's that?
If you don't feel stressed and you don't have trouble sleeping, is there any benefit to it?
So, okay, let's talk about stress then. So, man, if you can't sleep, you have some form of stress in your life, all right? Some form of. It doesn't mean you have an immediate financial stress or an immediate, like, your boss is a dick stress, you know what I mean? Because you don't have that at all, do you? Of course
Not
not.
stress.
But you know, you will have some other sort of stress, some internal unrest, some lack of fulfillment, something that's keeping you up. That's what it's going to be. Or maybe even just being in the environment you're in. There's research coming out now that some people are not adapted to live in cities well. Some people get really rattled by living in cities. We don't. We suck at living in the city, like massively. We're the worst at living in the city. We need to be out in the country. So there is always going to be some form of internal stress in there, always culminating in that GABA deficiency. Well, there may be a couple of, very rare exceptions, I'm sure. I'm yet to find one though, 3,000 and something clients, right? So I think there's always going to be a benefit in taking it before you go to sleep. The best one for that is actually Ifbb, which is now illegal, right? So you can't get it in Australia. Well, you can get it in Australia. Just go anywhere and just like Google how to get Ifbb. You can get it, like, you know what I mean? You can get whatever you want.
I was on that for a while and I still didn't get nothing out of it.
Probably didn't take enough or it was crap. How much were you taking?
Bulk nutrients. I was taking triple the dose.
Yeah, bulk nutrients is rubbish, man. I don't recommend bulk nutrients at all. I don't know if any of you guys have had experience with it. So, funny story with bulk nutrients. All right, tangent again, but I bought their BCAAs 4 times. All right, and 4 times I had a different tasting, different mixing, and different consistency of BCAA. So, how can BCAAs, which are meant to be 99% pure, taste so different, mix so different, and have such a different consistency all 4 times? It's like because they're not BCAAs. Bulk nutrients get their stuff from China, import it, repackage it here, and then sell it to you.
I thought they got it from like New Zealand.
Their way they do. New Zealand's like even more expensive than us for manufacturing in a lot of ways. So yeah, it's always from China. Anything that's cheap is from China. Anything that's cheap is crap. Alright, go on somewhere and pay some decent money for some supplements. Get a reputable brand. Cool?
We use the Savedo supplement sponge. They're really legit.
For whey.
Oh, for what, yeah.
Yeah.
And BCAAs.
Whey and BCAAs. But yeah, with Ifbb probably it was just crap. Straight up. That's it. Because trust me, Ifbb works. Every single person that got to use them that said it works. Another awesome one for sleep is Delta Zone by BPM Labs. Alright? Really awesome product. Ronnie Coleman Resurrect is even better if you can still get it, but it's pretty much mostly discontinued. And there's another one which we heard of the other day called Nightmare. Not the best name for a sleep supplement, but Nightmare is meant to be absolutely amazing. So there are 3 supplements you can get them on. And that will like hands down improve their sleep. The other thing too you've got to look at is everyone today is addicted to their phones. Like everyone's always on some type of screen, you know what I mean? Like You know, Jenna's there punching away. How many hours a day are you on your phone, Brian? Does it
On
tell
my
you?
computer, probably 6 or 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7. I spend 7 a day on my phone alone. So I run my business from my phone, but there's 7 hours on my phone plus the time on the computer. So you probably have 12 hours of screen time?
Yeah, probably 10. Most
10?
days.
10 hours of screen time every single day. The average Australian is something like 8 hours a day on their phone. You know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. Are you familiar with how blue light affects the brain? Alright? What does it do?
It wakes you up. It's like sunlight.
Yeah, kinda. It's like sunlight but shitter,
Yeah.
right? So sunlight's great for you. You'll actually, if you get a lot of sunlight, you'll actually sleep really, really well. So you know those summer days where you're out, you might, you know, Australia Day, okay? We used to always go out, have beers, go to the beach. That's what we do always. Every single day by the end of it, you'd be sleeping like an absolute baby. You know what I mean? Like that was it. Whenever you go out and spend big hours in the sun, that night you sleep really, really well. You spend big hours in front of a computer or a screen, you actually get messed up by it. So the blue light, the artificial blue light, for whatever reason, its chemical composition goes into your eye and actually destroys the production of melatonin, like stops the production of melatonin. Who knows what melatonin does? You guys familiar with it? Yeah, it regulates your circadian rhythms, right? So not just sleep, it's sleep-wake cycle, right? So everything. It regulates how your hormones are made. So you've actually got pulses of hormones. Do you guys know about them? Like how hormones pulse? So you don't just have like elevated testosterone and estrogen and whatnot throughout the whole day. Have you seen like hormonal rhythm?
Wake up with like cortisol and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So you get these pulses of all these things. So yeah, in the morning your cortisol rhythm will look like that. So that's in your AM, that there is about, do a graph, that's about 8 AM, and that'd be 10 PM. Okay? Now with your testosterone as well, it generally starts creeping up around here, and it goes something like that. You got all these different rhythms. Now what melatonin does is it actually regulates these rhythms. It regulates your body's production of these rhythms. So if you have this blue light in front of you all the time, what you're going to notice is that you're not going to sleep well, you're not going to chill out well, you're going to feel absolute crap, wake up multiple times through the night, and then you'll also have all these altered hormone profiles. Okay? So if you shift your cortisol, right, so instead of that being your cortisol's like this. That's why you feel like crap in the morning, because you've got no energy, right? The purpose of cortisol, remember, is to give you energy. It's there to break down fats and glycogen to give you glucose so that you actually have energy to spring up in the morning. Who slept in past like 8 or 9 AM and felt really sluggish the whole day? Yeah? You know that feeling? You just completely miss your cortisol spike, right? That's what I perceive it to be anyway. Is you miss that spike and you wake up past it. It's generally about 8:30, 9 AM when you sleep into it, you just feel like absolute rat shit the whole time, okay? So by having your phone on all the time, you're awake, you're ruining your melatonin production, and then you're also ruining up and screwing out your hormonal profile. Cool?
So phones that have blue light filters built in, do they work?
No, they don't. So, awesome question, dude. Blue light filters, like, yeah, they're a good idea, they're nice and all that, but they suck. Like, on your phones, I've got one, I have it on all day, and it still sucks. If I'm on my phone before bed, and like I do that, I do it every now and then, because I'm naughty, but if I do have it on, I know it's terrible, I will just sleep like shit.
Do you have some glasses?
Yeah, so I do have these sexy celibacy glasses. It's just so hot that you couldn't get anything if you tried. It's how I keep sofa away sometimes. But yeah, so you can get these ones which block blue light, and they're actually really good. I rate them quite highly. And I actually think if you wear them throughout the day, like getting blue light blocking glasses, they're like legit. One on your phone, what's that?
I wear them all the time.
Yeah.
Never on your front computer.
Yeah, the best. You feel so much better too. And you don't feel as strained on your eyes either.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, you can tell the difference. Like if you spend an hour with them and an hour without them, you just tell your eyes start getting fuzzy.
Yeah.
Can't really focus on anything anywhere near as well.
Yeah, 100%. They're just like, I think they're an absolutely awesome thing. I reckon if you're going to be in front of a computer, if you've got clients who are, get them on those blue light glasses because they'll just sleep so much better. You honestly notice a massive difference, right? So that's big. Going back to like on the screens, I did rag on it and say that it sucks, but it's still better than not having it on. Definitely an improvement. Not perfect, but it's definitely an improvement. The best thing you can do for them as well is get them outside. In terms of like lifestyle modification, get them outside and get them actually doing stuff. Most people don't spend any time outside. Like sure, you get them into the gym, right? You get them into the gym and you get them moving. Big plus. But even when they're in here, you've still got that artificial blue light. You know what I mean? You still have that. They need to come in here because if they don't come in here, they're not going to get any of this advice and they're not going to move. Sure, they need to do it, and so yeah, you're going to cop a bit of blue light. You need to make sure that sometime outside of coming in here as well, that they go outside and actually spend some time getting in some fresh air every now and then.
Do you reckon the recommended day in the sun, like per day in the sunlight is?
I say 7 hours a week. Yeah.
It's an hour a day.
Hour a day, yeah. And it doesn't have to be each day. It's better if it is. I try to get 2 to 3 hours each day if I can. Like that's just the best, but I also work online so I can be wherever. That's not practical for most, but 7 hours a week across the week is good. If on the weekend they just get out, in the morning. I know it's fucking cold here in Melbourne, right? Like it's really cold. Jesus. I don't know how you guys do it, but even if you just get out for a little bit in the morning, I know it's going to be a bit chilly, but whenever you can get out there, the alternative to that is red light therapy. It's going a little bit probably too hardcore for your guys, but maybe for you it might help. But you get it like a little red light and you actually put it onto yourself. The other one too is exposure to UVC. So there are different rays of ultraviolet light, but UVC exposure might be good. It's also really good for acne. You just don't want to give yourself skin cancer by doing too much of it, right? So you got to be careful of that one. You want to make sure that you're getting in some sort of light like that. Really awesome for you to chill out and actually sleep well. Cool? How many of you guys do meditation with your clients or teach them how to meditate? Nah? Get them onto an app then. If you don't know how to meditate yourself, learn, get them onto an app, something like that. Do an app yourself, man. So, yeah?
I use Cant.
Calm? Yeah, I think that's the one that I've got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just use Spotify.
Yeah?
Spotify.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something like that. Just get them to meditate each day. Meditation is not complex. People think you've got to sit in some weird pose and you don't have to do anything like that. Literally at the bare minimum, get them to go during the day, spend 10 minutes, sit in a dark room by themselves or even out in the sun and literally just think about the best parts of their life. Can you imagine how much your clients would improve if they just sat and actually thought about the positives for once? It doesn't sound like your guys are a very positive bunch by the time they're in here. It sounds like they really hate their lives. They get in here, they've got this hour of bliss and happiness and whatnot a couple of times a week, and they go back out and it's shit. Can you imagine if they actually started thinking about, oh shit, I'm really grateful for my kids. I'm really grateful that I've got a job. I'm really grateful I can actually eat food. You know what I mean? Something like that would be massive for them. Do you guys talk about gratefulness, thankfulness, that sort of stuff with them?
Yeah.
Yeah? Every time? Is that an inbuilt part of the system?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to communicate that to people who feel really shit.
Yeah.
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 It's almost like a fuck you for being so positive kind of thing.
No, it's more like that's nice thinking, but it's not practical for me. I've got to go home and feed 3 kids and then sleep 4 hours. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah,
A lot of
right.
them will come out and say that.
Yeah.
And again, it's we try and get them to keep a positive, even just a positive journal. Just write 3 things down here, either that you're grateful for or that's something that happened to you today, a comment or whatever. Get your brain to start thinking in that way. Even just to get them to do that before they go to bed is a task.
Yeah.
Because they're like, nah, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. It's just not a priority to them.
Yeah.
Don't have time.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
That's
They just don't value it. It's just because they think that it's stupid, huh?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
think that's
much
what
it.
it is. I just think they think, that's a silly idea.
Yeah, gotcha. So it's really going to come back down to the way that you're communicating that with them. So what is it? What do you think their first thought is when you tell them that?
Get fucked.
Yeah? And why do you think they think that way?
Yeah.
They don't understand it, that's it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's also got to do with the fact that they haven't been happy for so long.
Yeah.
What's the point?
What they've done, they've convinced themselves that their life sucks and they're a special case. I think that's what it comes down to. Most people are a special case and no one else understands them and no one else is going through what they're going through, which as we know is a proper bullshit. But in got to try and convey that to them. Okay, yeah, you're in a studio with 300 other mums and dads that are going through what you're going through. You know, this does work. Because they all got the same excuses as you got. So it's just a matter of breaking down those walls and going,
They need to be peer pressured, hey? Like hard out. Like they need to be sat in a group and like with a couple of people who are actually at rock bottom worse than them, and then talking about what they're grateful for. Yeah, really, I think that's like a big thing. I think like if you actually, you guys aren't going to be able to do it to them because once again they're putting you up on this pedestal. They're like, you're the PT, you've got the best life in the world, like you just get given everything. You know, you've probably heard that stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's just easy for you. It's like, no, it's exactly the fucking same for me as it is for you. I just choose to do it. I'm not lazy. You know what I mean? But the thing is, if they actually are around other people who they perceive are having it worse than what they are, that's when they're going to respond. From you guys, you're probably going to get zero buy-in by the sounds of things.
we like a couple of members up here, you know, of course, like 60 plus kilos and that sort of thing. It's a great example. He's the guy that was 60 years old with a shattered hip and ankle. A lot of people walk in, they're like, oh, I've got a sore lower back. I don't think I can do it. Well, this guy's fucking 200 kilos, 60 years old, and shit hip, shit ankle. He could do it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you can. And I go, oh yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give it a go. So
Yeah.
it's about, I guess, just knowing your other members as a PT, you know.
Yeah.
Do
Best
you
way.
run group talks?
What's that?
Do you run group talks?
Yeah, we do. Do a lot of videos.
Yeah.
But what about actually sitting down with them in groups?
With like counselling sessions or something like that.
I actually reckon like you've got to like get them in groups and get them talking about what they're grateful for. Can you imagine, right? You've got a group of 30 people, right? And everyone's talking about something that they're grateful for in their life, and you can't think of one thing. You know what I mean? You are going to think of one thing because otherwise you're out of the herd. You know what I mean? Like you are going to do that. You might get one out of 100 who's just like, no, fuck you guys, we've all got awesome lives, you know what I mean? He just wants to be a piece of shit. They're probably not a client you want anyway, and you're probably gonna, I don't know if you fire clients, do you guys fire clients often?
Definitely have.
Yeah, I'd show